Hello and welcome to another evening yoga session. This evening you will want to have a block, a yoga block like so. If you don't own one of these, you can use a book, you can use a pillow, a couch cushion, a rolled up towel, really anything that will create some gentle upward pressure for your back. And also if you can locate a strap like this. This is a fancy yoga strap, but it's really just a long piece of material, and so a dog leash, a belt, basically anything that will allow you to put some space between your hands and do things like rotating your arms overhead will work. A long-sleeved shirt, but you might stretch that out a little bit. All right, so go ahead and locate those items if you do not have them already, and move to your mat. Get nice and comfortable. And what we will, right off the bat, we're going to use the block to get started with a supported back bend. And so that looks something like this. So lie down on your back, and if you have a block like this that is designed for yoga, then I like to use it on the flattest option. And if you lay it underneath your spine, and then you have the top edge just beneath your shoulder blades. So the idea here is that your shoulders can roll toward the earth, and you're creating, using the block, you're creating some upward pressure on your shoulder blades. And it's a nice passive back bend for any time of day, but particularly near the end of the day when you have most likely been sitting in an uncomfortable position. And so, like I said, you don't have to use a block. You can use a pillow, a couch cushion, a rolled up towel, just anything that will create a shape, a comfortable shape for your upper back. And so go ahead and move there. When you are situated, you can have your legs straight, you can have your legs bent. It is up to you. You could even, if it's comfy for you, you could even place a pillow underneath your head. You could have a support for your head as you are allowing your shoulders, your arms to melt toward the earth. And the idea here is to let gravity take over. So I like to bend the elbows and create a goalpost shape with my arms like this. Some people like to have their arms down by their sides. Some people like to have hands on the belly. But just hang out here for a few breaths here. For this practice, we are going to pay particular attention to our upper back, and so this is a great way to start, just by waking up those muscles in the upper back, the shoulders. If you are experiencing any tightness around the rib cage, also some chest openers, we will be stretching the muscles across the fronts of the shoulders. Basically, anything related to your chest, upper back, and shoulders, we will be focusing on that. While you're here on your back, if you're happy exactly the way you are, please don't change anything. But if you are starting to get bored, you can bend one leg and take a gentle figure four here with one leg, just to get a little double duty here, starting to wake up the outer hips. You might even start to introduce a little bit of movement right to left, depending on what you are using for a bolster. That may or may not be restricting your movement here. So really, as is always the case, the name of the game is just taking movements that feel good and not too far. You're not pushing your limits. You're not pushing yourself to the point of pain at this point in your practice, or really at any point in our practice together. I know you know this, but suffering is optional. And so this is your opportunity to engage in self-care, not punishment. All right, switch legs if you are doing a figure 4 with one leg, then you can switch to the other leg. And again, depending on what you are using as a bolster, you might at some point decide that this is uncomfortable for your upper back, in which case please do what you need to do to either adjust the bolster or adjust your position here at the beginning of your practice. Long and slow breaths. Now, go ahead and step both feet back down onto the earth. You could either have the knees bent or you could have the legs straight, totally up to you. Now let's start to bring our awareness and focus to our shoulders. And so if you haven't already, go ahead and goalpost your arms so that the backs of the hands are on the earth and the elbows are at 90 degrees straight out from your shoulders. And then from this position of the arms, we're going to explore some internal and external rotation of the shoulders. So here on your back, just start to rotate the arms, sweeping the fingers toward the sky, down toward the earth, and then again, sweeping the fingers toward the sky and down onto the earth. So up and down. Feel the shoulders rotate in their sockets here. And keep going on your own breath, on your own time. And now move your arms back to the original position or whatever position is comfortable for you with your arms. And now just start to move the head to the right, to the left. Turn the neck, turning your chin over one shoulder then the other. At this point, I have moved the block off to the side. I'm not using it anymore. It's totally up to you whether you continue. If it's still comfortable, then stick with it. Just roll the head to the right, to the left, nice and easy. Massaging the back of the head. Close your eyes. Right, and if you haven't already, go ahead and set the block off to the side or bolster, whatever you are using. Lie down on your back, reach the arms overhead toward the back of the room, point the toes toward the front, take a deep breath and a full body stretch. And on the exhale, hug both knees to the chest, pick the head and shoulders up off the mat. So we're taking the reverse stretch of that passive back bend that we were just doing. Now we're round in the upper body. So be nice and gentle with yourself here as we are reversing that back bend. On the next inhale, reach the arms overhead, point the toes toward the front, reach, extend. Exhale, hug the knees to the chest again. Keep hold of just the right leg and relax the left leg down onto the earth and start to take some little knee circles here. Big circles to the right, circles to the left, waking up that hip joint. Now relax the right leg down onto the earth, switch sides, hug just the left knee to the chest. Little hip circles here. switch back over to the right leg, and this time you can maintain that same movement with the hip circles, or if you want to do something a little bit different, try taking an external rotation with the right hip here. And so what this looks like is if you have the knee in the right hand and the foot in the left hand, and so if you're looking down the midline of the body, you are looking at your shin presented parallel with the floor, and then as you are holding it in that externally rotated position, maybe start to rock it to the right, to the left, and maybe up towards your shoulder, back down towards your feet. Just kind of explore organic movement here with this hip in this externally rotated position. You're supporting the foot, supporting the knee. Think of it as a figure four, but instead of having it propped up on your knee, it's just supported by your hands. Now relax that right leg down onto the earth, switch sides. Pick up the left leg, same thing. Find that externally rotated position. Support the ankle, support the knee with the hands as you move your leg independently. All right, release the left leg down onto the earth. Now, we're going to take a few movements, some dynamic trunk twists here. And so I've heard these called scorpions before. So what I want you to do is have your arms out by your sides and then just pick up the right leg, take it across the body. And if you can tap the knee on the earth, fine. If you can't, no big deal. Just go ahead and set it back down on the earth, back to center, and let's switch sides. Pick up the left leg, take it across the body, any amount, just looking for a little bit of a twist here in the beginning. It's not an intense twist. Keep going right to left, picking up the leg, taking it across the body, back to center. Pick up the leg, take it across the body. Make sure you stack the hip on top of the lower hip just to create that twist in the spine. Let's go right to left on your own time. All right, now here on your back, what I want you to do is just flip over onto your belly now. So you're lying down on the mat, press the palms into the earth, and press it back to child's pose. So the tops of the feet are on the earth, the arms are reaching forward, the forehead is on the mat. Now what I want you to do is engage the elbows, reach the arms forward as far as you can, and the idea here is that rather than having a nice relaxed child's pose, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called lift off with the arms right to left side. So what this looks like is you're picking up your left arm, your left palm, and picking it up even just an inch off the mat and then set it back down. And now pick up your right palm and pick it an inch off the mat. You should feel an activation all the way down the sideways, through the lat, the shoulder, the upper back. Relax the head down onto the earth. So the only thing that's moving here is the arm that you are picking up and then setting back down. So this is a fairly subtle movement. You might not find a lot of movement from an external perspective, but the idea here is that you are really engaging the muscles in the upper back, the shoulders, right to left, picking up one arm, setting it back down, picking up the other arm, set it back down. We're nice and stable here as we move. Try not to let other parts of your body move, right? And so the idea here is that you're isolating just the muscles that activate the upper back and move the arm here. And so you're not trying to open up from the sideways. You're not trying to rotate through the trunk. Right, left, right, left. Go get a couple more on each side. All right, now from child's pose, go ahead and press up to a kneeling position and grab your strap, whatever you are using as your strap today. So we're going to keep with this theme of warming up the shoulders here. So what I want you to do is grab hold of the strap and put some space, about an arm's distance of space between your hands. And now keeping the elbows straight, that is the key. It's going to be tempting to bend the elbows as you bring the arms overhead. And then bring them behind your tailbone. Now bring the arms back forward and in front of your belly button. Now, if that was particularly challenging, put some more space between your hands, because the idea here is that you don't want to create a super intense stretch here at the beginning of your warm-up, and so put enough space between your hands that you can do these pass-throughs, keeping the elbows straight. And also at the same time, if you find, keep going as you are doing these, performing these pass-throughs front to back, if you find that in order to get the arms up and overhead, you need to do one shoulder than the other, again, put some space in between your hands. You want to be able to do this nice and easy from front to back several times. You should feel a nice stretch across the front of the chest as you move. Okay, go ahead and set the strap off to the side for a moment. Lightly rest your hands in your lap. Roll the shoulders down and back. And by the way, I'm in a kneeling position because it's comfortable for me to do that while I'm warming up my shoulders. But if this is uncomfortable for your ankles, your feet, you could come to a seated position. You can even sit on your block. Hey, we already got a block. So this is an option here. So you might slip that block underneath your sit bones, elevating your hips, which enables you to comfortably sit in a cross-legged position. Sometimes sitting in a cross-legged position gets a little old, especially if you're sitting on the ground. And so one nice little hack for keeping your hip flexors comfortable while you're in this cross-legged position is just to elevate the hips. You can do that, once again, on a couch cushion, on a block, on a book, anything. All right, let's go back to that strap, shall we? All right, so once again, put the same amount of space in between your two hands, and let's take some of those pass-throughs forward to back. And by the way, if for some reason you just can't figure out a comfortable seated position, you can do this standing. You don't need to be seated on your mat while you are warming up the shoulders like this with these pass-throughs. All right, now instead of both arms at the same time, we're going to rotate from right to left. So go ahead and bring your arms around behind you with the strap behind your back. And now move just the left hand. I'll mirror you. Just the left hand. Reach the left arm over and forward, and then complete the circle with the right hand. Left arm over and forward. Complete the circle with the right hand. Let's do two more, starting with the left. Over and forward, complete the circle with the right. Last time, over and forward, complete the circle with the left. Now let's go the opposite direction. Right arm over and forward, complete the circle with the left. Right arm over and forward, complete the circle with the left. Let's do three more. Right, then left, then right, then left. Last one, right, then left. Okay, now you can set the strap off to the side again. Give yourself some arm swings here. I know we've done a lot with the shoulders already, but you can't say I didn't warn you. All right, lightly rest the hands in the lap again, palms up, roll the shoulders down and back. And while we're sitting quietly, let's bring our awareness to our neck. So the neck bends from right to left, front to back, and it also rotates. Think of your neck as a little mini spine, right? It moves in the same way as the rest of your spine does. So go ahead and start by dropping one ear towards your shoulder, the other ear towards your other shoulder, right to left, right to left. Move on your own time. Don't worry too much about breathing with movement here. And also don't worry too much about finding some extreme limit to your comfort level. It's just your neck. So just a nice feel-good stretch here at the beginning. All right, now come back to center and drop the chin to the chest. Look down towards your belly button. And now elevate the chin toward the sky. Drop the head back. Try to even look at the wall behind you. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding the neck, even rounding the upper back. Inhale, chin to chest. Drop the head back. Let gravity take over. Forward, backward flexion of the neck. Just little baby cat-cows for the neck. All right, last plane of movement, come back to center. Chin is level with the earth, and now we're going to try rotating. Chin over the shoulder, chin over the other shoulder. Right to left, look over your shoulder. If it helps you complete the rotation, then use your eyes, use your gaze to look as far around your shoulder as you possibly can. But while you're doing that, don't make it about rotating the trunk from the waist. You're keeping the shoulders stable over the hips. This is just about the neck. All right. Let's get off of our feet for a moment. Take it back to tabletop. Press the palms into the earth, have the hips over the knees. And if you were kneeling on your feet, your ankles might feel a little tired, maybe a little bit asleep. And so you might try rolling out the ankles to the right, to the left, just for a moment to restore blood flow. Curl the toes under, shift some body weight back onto the balls of the feet here. Nice stretch for the arches, the toes. All right, so while we're shifting that body weight back onto the feet, look at your palms for a moment. Have your hands shoulder width apart, spread the fingers nice and wide, press into the earth with all four corners of each hand. And then while you're doing that, I want you to rotate the insides of the elbows forward. Now, I know that's a pretty extreme external rotation for the shoulders, and I know that's hard to maintain when you're in downward facing dog, but that's ultimately the goal, because you want to try to have an externally rotated shoulder when you're in downward facing dog, and the reason for that is so that you can have a straight line from your wrist to your tailbone. So let's give that a try. Take an inhale. Then on the exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips, take it back to downward facing dog. And the more you rotate the insides of the elbows forward, the more you can create that rotation in the shoulders that creates space between the shoulder blades, the upper back. Pedal the feet right, left, press one heel, then the other into the earth. And while you're looking back at your feet, pick your heels all the way off the mat. Put your body weight on the toes, and then drop both heels off to the right of the toes. And so the idea here is that your feet are like little train cars now, one following the other. Now go back to the other side, drop the heels off to the left. And so we're finding some rotation in the hips here, even as we're maintaining a nice stable downward facing dog with the upper body. Go back to the right side and off to the left again, just for fun. Now let's take it back to the right side. Now we're going to do a little extra challenge here, keeping your feet in this train track orientation here. I want you to drop the hips in line with the shoulders, coming into a push-up, but with your feet in this very strange rotation. And now take it back to downward facing dog. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Why not? So the edges of your feet are on the earth. Lower your hips down in line with the shoulders. Top of a push-up, downward facing dog. Nice. Good job. That was kind of fun. Glide and sit with the hands. Walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms toward the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, we're going to take it through a couple half sun salutations, but rather than the usual trying to keep the hamstrings straight the entire time for a hamstring stretch, what we're going to do instead is we're going to take a soft bend with the knees to more activate the hamstrings rather than stretch them right here at the beginning. And so start with a soft bend in the knees and try not to straighten the knees throughout the entirety of this half sun salutation. It looks like this. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Remember, don't straighten the knees. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms overhead, keep the knees bent. Exhale, hands to heart center. Awesome, let's do that again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now you can straighten up the knees. Nice job. So come back to standing. Have your feet beneath the hips. stand with your palms forward, coming into mountain pose. Flip the insides of the elbows forward. Find width across the chest. On the next inhale, bring the arms overhead. And on the exhale, drop the arms in line with your shoulders. Turn to your right and shift your gaze over the back fingertips toward the back of the room. Now the key here is to not twist from the hips. Your hips are still square with the top of the mat. You're twisting here from the waist up, and so the shoulders are rotated. The hips are, or the waist is rotated, but the hips are square forward. Inhale, arms overhead back to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. To the right, exhale. Inhale. Last time, exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. All right, next we're going to do a little bit of a twist on the half sun salutation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add a little standing back bend and also a counter stretch to that with a forward rounded shape. And so from the standing position, the standing back bend is going to be with cactus arms. And the idea here is that we're opening across the chest, and then on the exhale, we're rounding into the rounded shape. I'll talk us through it. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, cactus arms, gaze goes up, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, back to standing, everything back to center. Exhale, fold over the legs, plant the hands on the earth, bend the knees, pick the heels up off the mat, tuck the chin to the chest. And so you're rounding into a little teeny ball like this. Now inhale, place the heels on the earth again, halfway lift, straight legs, flat back, hands find the shins. Exhale, fold over the legs into those hamstrings. Inhale, arms overhead, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center, right back where we started. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, cactus arms, back bend, gaze goes up. Inhale, back to center, everything back in line. Exhale, round over the legs, tuck the chin to the chest. See if you can even tuck your forehead towards your tailbone. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back, straight legs. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Last time, here we go. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale. Exhale, round. Inhale. Fold, exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, hands to heart center. Step your feet hip distance apart. Actually, step them wider, so maybe even mat width apart. Take a soft bend in the knees. It's not a squat. It's just not a forward fold. Interlace the hands behind the back. Take an inhale. Roll the shoulders down and back towards each other. Exhale, fold over the legs. So the idea here is that we're pulling the arms overhead, allow gravity to take over. By the way, this is a great opportunity to grab hold of the strap if interlacing your hands behind your back is not accessible or comfortable for you today. Inhale, bring the hands back to the low back, sweep the arms overhead. And exhale, this time into a low squat. So hands to heart center, drop the hips below the level of the knees, and maybe start to rock side to side. This is, after all, your first squat of your practice. And so get nice and comfortable here. Have your heels on the earth. Widen your feet if you need to in order to have your heels on the earth. All right, bring the hands to the earth. Take an inhale here at the bottom of the squat. Exhale, straighten the legs, lift the hips. Forward fold. Inhale into the squat. Exhale into the fold. Inhale, squat. Drop the hips low. Exhale, fold. Heel toe the feet together. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands find the shins. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Let's take it through a flow. Lowering with control. Inhale for cobra. Exhale for downward facing dog. Let's take it through one more of those. That was nice. Drop the hips in line with the shoulders. Top of the push-up. Exhale, lower all the way to the earth. And this time, instead of just a cobra, I want you to bring your arms stably underneath your shoulders. And so bring the elbows underneath the shoulders and the forearms are parallel with one another in a Sphinx pose. So draw the sternum forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together behind the back. If you don't feel this gentle back bend in the upper back, then you might be dumping it into the low back. So think about tucking the tailbone under. This should be more or less the same sensation as when you were doing that passive back bend over the block, only this time you are supporting yourself with your arms rather than gravity doing the work for you. And if you want a little extra interesting activities during Sphinx pose, you might try turning your chin over one shoulder and looking back towards your feet. Sometimes it's fun to just maybe bend the foot and see if you can get a visual on the sole of your foot over your shoulder. And maybe go right to left. All right, press the palms into the earth. Take it back to child's pose. And just like that child's pose at the beginning of our practice, this isn't a relaxing child's pose. This is an active one. So have the forehead on the earth, reaching the arms forward. The elbows are straight and off the mat. And we're, again, going to do some lift-offs here. Pick up one hand, set it back down. Pick up the other hand, set it back down. Right to left, one at a time. Minimize the amount of movement in the rest of your body. The idea here is that you're not stabilizing or initiating this movement from your hips or your knees. This is nice and controlled from the waist through the lat to the shoulder. Get one more each side. Very nice. Take it back to downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands and walk your feet forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Inhale, lift the right leg, lead with the heel. Exhale, tap the knee to elbow, bringing the shoulders up over the wrists. Inhale, lift the right leg again. Exhale, knee to nose, round the spine, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, lift the right leg again. Exhale, step it through next to the right thumb, lower the back knee to the earth. Inhale, low crescent lunge with the back knee grounded. And on the exhale, hands to heart center and find a prayer twist here over this front knee. Maybe even shift your gaze toward the back of the room. Inhale, back to center, back to crescent lunge, arms overhead. And this time we're going to twist the same direction, only this time we're going to keep the arms in an open twist, and the right fingertips toward the back of the room, left fingertips forward, and maybe even shift your gaze toward the back of the room again. So this time you're not using your elbow and your knee to crank into the twist, you're doing it from the waist. Inhale, arms overhead, back to center. Exhale, hands to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. Left side, inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Tuck the forehead toward the knee. Inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it through next to the left thumb. Same thing on this side. Lower the back knee to the earth. Inhale, low crescent. Exhale, hands to heart center. Rotate toward the left. Tuck that right elbow over the left knee. And so you're using your knee and your elbow to encourage your upper body into this twist. Remember to breathe. All right, on the next inhale, bring it back to center, arms overhead. And this time on the exhale, open arm twist in low crescent. Rotate the left fingertips toward the back of the room, right fingertips forward. And where your fingers go, your shoulders are also following. So you're rotating your shoulders around the midline. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back to plank. Take it through a flow. Lower the knees to the earth. Sink the hips back onto the heels, coming into a kneeling pose. Let your breath flow. Inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, find that open arm twist again, this time from a kneeling position. Inhale, back to center, arms overhead. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, back to center. One more time each side with control. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And this time, seal the palms toward one another. Find lift through the chest, but soften the lower ribs toward the earth. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the inner arms toward one another as you, once again, find lift through the shoulders, the chest, but it's not about puffing the lower ribs out. Soften those down toward the earth. You're finding that extension in the upper back here. Inhale, arms overhead again. Exhale, hands to the earth. Take it back to downward facing dog. Glance up at the hands. Walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Sweep the arms. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to stay up at the top of the mat for a moment here, taking a nice little twist. So step your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Take a soft bend in the knees, fold forward over the legs, and plant the hands on the earth for support. Now move the left hand directly beneath the face, and on the inhale, reach the right fingertips toward the sky, and as you do, straighten up the right leg. You should feel a little bit of a twist in that right IT band. And if you don't, then try straightening both legs. Exhale, back to center. Rebend both knees. Plant the right hand beneath the face. And inhale, reach the left fingertips toward the sky. Nice stretch in the left IT band. Exhale, back to center. Both knees bent. Let's go right to left a couple more times. Inhale to the right. Gaze goes up. Exhale, back to center. Rebend both knees. Inhale to the left. Gaze goes up. Exhale, back to center, rebend both knees. Last time, inhale to the right, and this time, if it's comfortable for you, you might try finding the wrap around the backside waist. And so the right leg is straight, the left knee has a soft bend to it. As you rotate the right shoulder toward the sky, also soften. And don't dump a lot of weight into that left hand. Okay, so there's kind of a fun transition here. As you're looking down at the earth, your left hand is right next to your left foot, which means that with everything but the right leg, you're set up for a side angle. So, a side angle with a bind. And so if you can, shift your body weight to your left foot and just step the right foot back into that position for the side angle. So you see what you just did? Glance at your foot. Your front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot. The front knee is over the front ankle. So you're in side angle, but you're taking that bind around the backside waist. And maybe you've never done that before, but here you are. Inhale, unwind that side angle. Exhale, circle the hand to the earth, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. After 2 breaths, glance up at the hands, walk, step, or float your feet to the top of the mat. Nice, we're going to do that same thing on the other side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, sweep the arms. Exhale, everything down, hands to heart center. Okay, so that started from the wide leg fold at the top of the mat, moderately wide leg fold. So step your feet about mat width apart, soft bend in the knees, hinge forward. And we were twisting. Yeah, plant the right hand beneath the face, and on the inhale, reach the left fingertips toward the sky, and as you do, straighten up the left leg. All right, so there's your twist, the beginning of the twist. And then just like on the other side, you might find the wrap around the backside waist here and catch the right inner thigh. We're going to hang out here for a few breaths. And just like on the other side, you kind of know where this is going. And so glance down at your right foot, right hand. Your right hand should be just inside the big toe. And that right foot should be ready to support your body weight for a moment as you shift your body weight to the right leg and step the left foot back into side angle on this side with the bind. Glance down at your feet. Try to find that front heel to arch positioning that you do with Warrior 2, triangle, side angle. Basically all the lateral standing warriors. Inhale, unwind that bind. Exhale, circle the hand to the earth. Ooh, step it back to plank, take it through a flow. All right, lower the knees to the earth, sink it back to a kneeling pose. And just to kind of calm things down, can you take just some nice organic cat-cow type movements here for your upper back while you're here in this kneeling pose. Explore that range of motion between the shoulder blades, the upper back, the thoracic. All right, bring the legs around in front of you. we're going to finish with a bridge pose. So lie down on your back. Walk your feet up towards your hips. Have your feet beneath your knees, arms reaching down by your sides. Take an inhale. And with the exhale, lift the hips off the mat. And with that clearance you just created behind your back, roll the shoulder heads under and down and see if you can interlace the hands behind the back. Keep resting the midline or the sternum toward the sky, and you're looking straight down the midline. The idea here is that you don't want to turn your head to the right or the left. All right, and slowly begin to unwind the way you came into it and set your back down one vertebrae at a time. Let's do it one more time. Lift the hips toward the sky. Oh, and by the way, you could do this exactly the way you did it last time, or if you want to engage with something new and different, you might grab your block again and slip the block underneath your sit bones here, so you can now do this same back bend type shape, but this time supported. And so if you've got your block beneath your sit bones and you're very supported in the hips, then you can do what I'm doing and you can straighten out the legs. I suppose this could be categorized as a back bend, even though I imagine most people don't really think of it as a back bend, but really anything counts as a back bend if it stretches the front of the body. So anything that stretches the hip flexors, quadriceps, the abdominals, the shoulders. All right, let's slowly back up out of it. If you were supported, go ahead and lift the hips off the block. And it seems quite appropriate to close the way we began. And so I'm going to spend the next few moments, 4 or 5 minutes, in the same supported back bend that we began our practice in. If you liked that at the beginning of practice, I invite you to do the same. Or if you feel like it would be good for you, then please go ahead and join me. If you want to skip that part, then you can either begin your resting pose, your Shavasana now, or you might take a reclined figure 4, or you might take another spinal twist. That might be really nice. And if you haven't moved into a resting pose yet, now is a great time to do that. If you are still enjoying your supported back bend, then you can stay there as long as you want. There's nothing wrong with it. So move yourself into whatever resting pose will allow you to close your eyes and relax for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Shavasana. Slowly begin to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers to toes. Roll out the wrists, the ankles. And reach the arms overhead toward the back. Point the toes toward the front. Take a deep breath and a full body stretch. From fingers to toes and everything in between. And on the exhale, roll over to the right side. When you are ready, press the earth away. Make your way back up to a comfortable seated position. Whatever that looks like for you. Lightly rest your hands on your knees. Close your eyes when you get there. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, pull that breath to heart center. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.